We're here at European Women in Technology in Rij, Amsterdam. Today here with me is Janelle de Weerd. She's the marketing manager of Crobox. So, hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Crobox,
Yes.
really weird name and a bit of a peculiar company. Can you tell me a little bit about what Crobox is doing right now?
Yeah, so kind of the official pitch that we like to use is we combine consumer psychology with AI in order to generate business impact as well as psychographic customer intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two parts to our product. The first part is what we are doing on the web shops of our customers. And that is basically we're running hundreds of thousands of experiments with different psychological principles. And based off of the...
Cialdini?
We use Cialdini, but we also expand that. You know, Cialdini has the 6 or 7, actually, principles of persuasion. And what you see with most companies is they stick to these 6. But we have consumer psychologists within our company, so we expand that. We use other psychological principles in order to drive behavior in ways that you wouldn't normally see by just reading a couple blog posts.
Like what? Because I already feel totally influenced and also maybe a little bit, cheated into something.
Yeah. So, for instance, one of the ones that we will use is reasons why. And this is something very simple. It just says, okay, why should you buy this product or this brand? So putting a message that says shipping is free over 60 euros. Or pointing out specific product characteristics.
Yeah. We have a 4.5 review on Trustpilot.
Yeah, as well. But you can also use something like eco-friendly. This product is made with organic or sustainable materials, and so that will also appeal to someone who is more eco-centered, and that's kind of a halo effect that's happening. So we're using that. We're also using the endowment effect, which basically says if you feel that you own a product, that will make it harder to not buy the product. So these types of principles we're kind of integrating into different copy variations so that we can not only drive behavior, but most importantly, we want to understand who the customers are on our clients' websites. I think that there's a transition that will be coming in the next 5 years that companies will start putting more focus on customer intelligence because they need to understand who are they talking to so that they can create relevant messaging.
So not conversion-driven website, but customer-intelligent websites.
It's both, because at the end of the day, everything will ultimately relate to what is the impact. If companies cannot give a business case for a product, they're not going to invest in it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the basis. You need to say, okay, we can give you this kind of incremental revenue increase or increase your conversion rate by X%. But going one level deeper is we're saying we can give you psychographic customer intelligence that will help you craft messages in your omni-channel strategy that make people want to come to your brand because they feel that you understand who they are.
Who they are. So this is always a bit of a difficult topic, but if you're talking about psychology and e-commerce, people are always a little bit hesitant and afraid, and perhaps even the big and ugly dirty word privacy comes to place. So how do you make sure that this is all privacy compliant?
So we are GDPR compliant. We were quite lucky. We kind of got a head start on all of this. So when there was the mass hysteria in May, was it, for the GDPR, we already knew exactly what needed to be done. So we have a user data portal where people can see all of the data that Crobox is collecting on them so that they can delete it, stop tracking. Everything is available for the end user to really be able to control the data and see the data that's being collected. But we also have a code of ethics. For us, it's very important that people are not forced to do things that they don't want to. Mm-hmm. That defeats the purpose of shopping. You want to help people make better decisions, and we do that by pointing out different product characteristics that appeal to who they are and what they want to get out of their products.
So Crobox previously was named Sagent.
Yes.
Which was a terrible name, so I'm glad you you shifted.
Yes.
Up until now, you raised around 1.1 million from Kiedin,
Yeah.
the angel investor company fund here in the Netherlands. So, but weirdly enough, after 2 years, no follow-up funding. That usually means that you're doing quite well. Is that correct?
Yeah, things are going well. We've recently kind of pivoted to a more enterprise grade strategy. So we have clients like IKEA, NL, Under Armour, Asics, Foot Locker, these type of larger companies that they also understand the importance of customer intelligence.
Yeah.
It's less about converting their website because they are already doing things to do that, but they also want to understand who their customers are and how their behavior might be different when you're comparing two cultures or two product categories, these types of things.
Yeah. So these are usually more retailers who have an online presence rather than just e-commerce businesses.
Yes, yeah. So our market is online retailers, online enterprise retailers, and we've dabbled in other places and other kind of sub verticals, but we've really found that our biggest impact is in retail.
So what would you see as a big hurdle at the moment for companies like yourself here in the Netherlands? You grew up in America, but you're from a Dutch origin. Would you say that we have a different aspect to growing internationally?
I think it's an inherent characteristic of Europe to be international. You know, we live here in the Netherlands and we're surrounded by all these different countries with different cultures, different languages, it's just diverse here. So as a European company, you need to embrace diversity because without it, you're going to hit this point that you can no longer get over.
Yeah,
it's
like a plateau, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to break through that plateau. And I don't think any company within Europe can get by without embracing diversity.
So if you see, you grew up in America, came here when you were 18 for your university or college, and now you're still here. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Idaho, which is a very...
country girl?
I wouldn't go that far. I did grow up in the city of Idaho, in Boise. But it was very conservative there. As far as diversity goes, you had pretty much one color, one religion. It was all very static. And for me, when I moved to the Netherlands, I kind of discovered that it represented everything that my hometown or my home state didn't. So the perspective of people, at least within de Randstad, people are very open. They have a very broad perspective of the world, of diversity, and these types of things really inspired me.
Yeah, when we're talking about women in tech, is it also that, I mean, for you it's hard to say because you now live and work here, but would you say also that, at least from your perspective, the tech community in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands is open and welcoming to women as well?
Definitely. I think that there are still some underlying challenges that need to be overcome. I work in marketing, and when it comes to marketing, there are plenty of women. There's no shortage of women. But when you look into the more technical fields like development, especially backends, there are very few women who are really in this field. So I think that there needs to be more effort in grade school where people are really learning the fundamentals of coding, learning more about these logic statements, if this, then that. I think the earlier we can start integrating this into schools and also make it normal that women are into math and science and these types of things, because for a long time
why not?
Exactly. It's always kind of seen as this nerdy or men's world, but it's absolutely not, because it's the future.
Women can be nerds too. I know plenty of them.
For sure.
Hell, I'm married to a nerdy woman. So
See, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that It's changing, but we're not there yet. And there can be more that can happen to get more women on those ground levels of development, because the future is tech. You know, AI is growing, it's developing and learning more every day. We need to support the demand that the future will require in order to cater to that future.
So you're a relatively young woman in the tech sector. So, but how do you foresee your future role then? Does it also need that women like yourself need to become leaders or even founders more often than they're doing right now?
I think the word need, must, these are big words. I think that there's a lot of gray area and people should do what they feel they should. I'm someone who has often sought out leadership opportunities or ways to advance myself, but I know plenty of people who don't have those same characteristics. It's not a men's characteristic or a women's characteristic, it's just something that you might have or you don't. I do think that there are opportunities to empower women to really go for those positions, but it's hard for me to speak because I've never felt suppressed or limited because of my gender. That's not something I've ever taken into the calculation of my own personal growth. But I know that I might be special in that. So yeah, it's hard for me to say.
Well, I think that's a great end of this interview. Thank you so much, Janelle de Weerd, and great for having you here.
My pleasure.